Let's talk about apricot seeds. Yes, those tiny little things hiding inside the pit of your apricot like they're keeping some ancient secret. Some folks believe they're cancer-fighting warriors. Others? Well, they just see a potential trip to the ER. So what's the deal? Apricot seeds contain amygdalin, also known in its superhero alias as Laetrile, or more dramatically vitamin B17. Spoiler alert, it's not a real vitamin. Sorry, B-complex fans. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, people thought this compound could be the holy grail of cancer cures. Flash forward a couple of centuries and here we are, still trying to figure out if this is a breakthrough, or just a bad idea with good PR. Some cell and animal studies do hint that amygdalin might have anti-cancer properties. But before you start snacking on apricot kernels like they're popcorn, here's the plot twist. Amygdalin breaks down into cyanide. Yes, cyanide. The do not ingest kind of poison. Symptoms of cyanide poisoning? We're talking about liver and nerve damage, fever, coma, and in extreme cases, well, let's just say you won't need to worry about cancer anymore. Now about that shiny term Laetrile. It made its American debut in cancer treatments back in the 1920s, and the Russians gave it a whirl even earlier, in 1845. But despite its long history, the science hasn't caught up with the hype. A 2023 review confirmed that while there is some promising lab data, actual clinical trials in humans are as rare as a unicorn on a unicycle. Researchers agree, we need a lot more high-quality studies before we even consider using amygdalin as a real cancer treatment. Oh, and just to be clear, the FDA does not approve amygdalin for treating cancer. Or anything really. That endorsement you saw online? Probably came from someone's cousin's blog, not a scientist. So, can apricot seeds relieve cancer symptoms? Here's the bitter truth. Maybe in a petri dish, but in the human body they're more likely to stir up trouble than cure disease. Don't toss out modern medicine for a seed that might be more villain than hero. What does the research say about amygdalin? Yes. Amygdalin, the molecule that sounds like a fancy skincare ingredient but comes with a cyanide twist. So, what does the science actually say? According to a 2023 review, lab studies on cells, in vitro for the science crowd, suggest amygdalin might have a few anti-cancer party tricks. It may mess with the cell cycle, rile up the immune response, and even throw a wrench in the cancer cell machinery by promoting cell death and damage. Sounds promising, right? Hold that applause. These hopeful results were seen outside the body in carefully controlled lab dishes. Basically, it's like saying someone won a boxing match on PlayStation and assuming they're ready for a title fight in Vegas. Real-world application? Still questionable. Researchers have tested amygdalin on various types of cancer cells. Think lung, breast, prostate, colorectal, cervical, and gastrointestinal. So it's making the rounds like a B-list celebrity at a health conference. But here's the kicker. Animal studies and clinical trials in actual humans are scarce, and even when they do exist, the results are all over the place. One study cheers, the next one shrugs, and another quietly leaves the room. Why the caution? Well, when amygdalin breaks down in the body, it can turn into hydrocyanic acid, which, in case the name didn't tip you off, is not the kind of acid you want hanging around. It can build up and become toxic, which is, let's say, a rather inconvenient side effect for something marketed as a natural remedy. The review concludes that more research is needed, ideally to figure out how to make amygdalin less toxic, and whether it could ever team up safely with mainstream cancer treatments like chemotherapy. Risks and side effects of apricot seeds. So, you're thinking about munching on apricot seeds to fight cancer. Let's talk about the less advertised part of that crunchy decision, the side effects. Spoiler alert, this isn't a light snack. It's more like Russian roulette with fiber. According to the National Cancer Institute, most of the Laetrile floating around out there is cooked up in unregulated labs in Mexico using crushed apricot pits. Sounds trustworthy, right? If you like your supplements with a side of mystery ingredients, you're in luck, because the FDA doesn't regulate it and no one really knows what's in each batch. It's basically health roulette in capsule form. Now, the real party pooper here is hydrocyanic acid, which amygdalin turns into once it gets cozy in your body. Unfortunately, this compound isn't just bad for cancer cells, it's bad for you too. Here's a short list of possible side effects as reported by the NCI. Warning, it's not pretty. Headache, the I made a mistake kind. Dizziness because gravity needs a challenge. Nausea and vomiting, a classic double feature. Droopy upper eyelid, your face giving up in real time. Blue or gray skin, because nothing says wellness like looking like a smurf. Liver damage, not ideal if you plan on using your liver. Nerve damage, goodbye balance, Hello, unintentional interpretive dancing. Fever, confusion, coma, and yes, death. Now, these risks skyrocket if you take Laetrile by mouth or if you get fancy and start mixing it with raw almonds, fruit pits, vitamin C megadoses, or even healthy-sounding things like celery, carrots, and bean sprouts. Apparently, eating a salad with your apricot seeds is like throwing gasoline on a cyanide bonfire. If you experience any side effects after experimenting with apricot seeds or Laetrile, don't walk, run, or wobble if the nerve damage kicked in, to emergency care. This is not one of those wait it out and drink ginger tea situations. FDA warnings about amygdalin. Alright, time for a reality check, courtesy of the FDA, aka the folks who officially decide what's safe to eat and what should stay in your compost pile. First off, the FDA Poisonous Plant Database, yes, that's a real thing, not a rock band, has flagged a clear link between apricot kernels and cyanide poisoning. Their stance? Accidentally swallowing a seed or two won't turn you into a walking hazard? But if you start snacking on them like trail mix, you could be signing up for a date with some very unpleasant symptoms, like the kind that involve paramedics. And in May 2024, the FDA decided they'd had enough of the miracle cure marketing nonsense and issued an official warning about amygdalin found in certain apricot seed products. The message was loud, clear, and probably written in all caps somewhere in their office. Stop using and dispose of these products, preferably not into your smoothie. Talk to your doctor if you've consumed them, even if it was months ago. Seek emergency help immediately if you're experiencing any side effects, like the blue-lipped look or spontaneous dizziness. And here's the kicker. The FDA does not approve Laetrile, aka amygdalin, aka vitamin B17, aka NOPE, for treating cancer, or anything else for that matter. If someone says otherwise, they're either misinformed or selling something. Possibly both. The FDA is continuing to investigate these products, but so far the verdict is crystal clear. Amygdalin is not a safe, approved, or proven cancer treatment. It's more likely to land you in the ER than in remission. Do apricot seeds have any benefits? Okay, let's give apricot seeds a little redemption arc. Before we completely throw them into the natural doesn't always mean safe bin, it's worth asking, do they offer anything good at all? Well, according to a 2022 review, apricot kernels do bring a few nutrients to the table. We're talking protein, the building blocks of life, and gym memberships. Fiber, your digestive system's BFF. Carbohydrates, for energy, or naps depending on your metabolism. Flavonoids, those antioxidant compounds with names you probably can't pronounce but your cells supposedly love. The review also suggests that apricot seeds might have antioxidant potential, which means they could help fight off free radicals, those unstable molecules that sound like Marvel villains and are often blamed for aging, disease, and bad hair days. So yes, on paper they have some nutritional value. But, and this is a big but, according to a 2023 review, the risks of amygdalin may far outweigh these modest perks. You'd have to weigh the antioxidant potential against, potential cyanide poisoning. Kind of kills the vibe, right? So, here's the verdict on apricot seeds. Yes, amygdalin, the star compound in these little seeds, has shown some anti-cancer potential in lab studies. But unless you live in a petri dish, that's not enough to call it a cure. In humans, amygdalin can break down into cyanide, which is not the kind of detox anyone's looking for. It's less natural remedy and more biohazard. The FDA has made it crystal clear, apricot seeds and amygdalin are not approved cancer treatments. In fact, eating too many of them could land you in the ER, or worse. If you're considering alternative therapies to support cancer treatment, don't go it alone. Talk to your doctor first. Seriously, your oncologist is not going to roll their eyes at questions. They'd much rather help you safely navigate the snake oil minefield. And hey, a licensed nutritionist might even help you boost your diet without accidentally poisoning yourself. Bottom line, apricots are great. Apricot seeds? Handle with care, and a whole lot of medical guidance.